I believe, okay, the Hangout on Air is live. Ah! All right. Hi, I am Dr. Teresa Cullen, and I am an associate professor at the University of Oklahoma in the Instructional Psychology and Technology program. And today, I'm having this live chat to tell people about our new 21st Century Master's degree, which you can read more about by going to bit.ly/21st Century Teaching in order to see more about our courses and what we're doing. Joining me tonight is Kat Jackson. And Kat, say something so that you come to the front of the screen.
Say something? No. Hi, everyone.
And Kat Jackson is a doctoral student who's helping us plan for the courses and working on the courses. And if you do decide to pursue the online master's in 21st century learning, Kat is going to be somebody you're going to be familiar with because she's going to be going in and out of the classes a little bit. And so you'll get to know her a little better as well. If any of you are wanting to join the chat live, if you want to tweet to @DrTerry_OU, which is DrTerri, we can invite you to join in as another joiner. But because I wasn't sure who would show up, what I have gone ahead and done is, what Kat has done is gone ahead and prepared some questions that she thinks you might be having, and I'm going to answer them. We're just going to have a little conversation. And then also I'm going to activate on the Google chat the Q&A tab. And the Q&A tab will allow people who are watching to ask a question. And if we get people watching that ask a question, we'll deviate from our hidden list that Kat has prepared, and we'll move to your questions. So thank you if you are joining us, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions. So Kat, do you want to start with a question, or you want me to do a spiel about what the major is?
I think we should do a spiel, and then we'll go into some specific questions.
Okay. So we are really excited at OU for starting this brand new major, which is in 21st century learning. And 21st century learning, if you're not familiar, there's lots of different models that look at 21st century learning, but they're focused on collaboration, communication, having students have kind of the soft skills that are going to be necessary for them to be successful for jobs that maybe don't even exist. And what I've been hearing from teachers is that sometimes they want to get a master's degree in education, but they don't want to get it in a specific content area. They just want to be a better teacher. They want to be more collaborative. They want to have some more opportunity to just teach in different ways and become a better teacher. And that's exactly what this is designed for. And kind of the way that this major came together, which makes me really excited, is that we decided we wanted to offer an online degree. And what I did is I presented a challenge to the rest of the faculty and said, think about a course that you would like to teach that you don't have time to teach. We distributed a series of different models that looked at 21st century learning, and we said, now looking at all these models, thinking about these models, how would your class fit into this? How could you help a teacher be innovative? How could you help a teacher have students engaged in problem-based learning, be involved in new and exciting different ways of learning? And so that's actually where this all came from. And so that's what makes me so excited, because all of the courses actually came from things that the faculty said, wow, if I could teach a course just on helping to improve the STEM pipeline, or if I could just teach a course on how social media is changing education, or how teachers can use research in order to improve their practice, I would love to teach that course. And so it's coming from the passion of our faculty that are teaching in the program, and that's part of what makes this program so exciting. If you want to know more about it, the website again that you can go to is bit.ly. So I'm going to open the chat window. I think you can see this, but it's bit.ly/21st century teaching. And you can go to that, and you can read all about the courses that are being offered in the sequence. So some really cool things about this major that are really great. It's completely online except for one face-to-face meeting, which is on April 1st, the weekend of April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd for the 2016 cohort, which brings me to the next really exciting thing. It's a cohort program. And so a cohort program means that you start with a group of people and you travel through and take all your classes with all those people. So that's super exciting because the cohort program allows you to build community, to solve problems together, to kind of develop your teams and groups, and work on these collaboration skills with people who you regularly will see. Additionally, the course is set up so that you can finish the entire major in 18 months. So what we're looking for is students who will make a commitment to being engaged in the program for 18 months. And so it'll start in January of 16. In the first semester, they will take 7 credit hours. In the summer, they will take 7 credit hours as well. There is 4 credit hours in the May term. The June term, there's a break. And then there's 3 credit hours in the July term. In the fall, the students will take 7 credit hours. In the spring, they'll take 6 credit hours. And then in their final summer, they'll finish with 5 credit hours. And it is during that time that they will also defend their portfolio, which will be the culmination of all of the class. I've kind of spieled it. What have I forgotten to talk about, Kat?
Well, let's talk about, if you are interested in the program, what are the requirements for getting into this program?
Okay, great. So our requirements for admission for a master's program, of course, is to have a completed bachelor's. You have to have a 3.0 GPA and your last completed degree. You have to have 3 letters of recommendation. And actually, that's just an online form where you list the email addresses and then your letters of recommendation will fill them out. You have to have a personal statement, a resume, and official copies of your transcripts to send in. Did you notice the thing I didn't mention, Kat, that some programs require?
Well, do you have to take the GRE, Dr. Kellen?
You do not have to take the GRE. That is correct. You do not have to take the GRE. The GRE is not required for this degree. And so, so what we're really looking for is people who are really interested in improving education and people who will make the commitment to take the courses. One of the questions, I'm going to jump ahead of Kat, one of the questions she might ask, or someone might ask is, well, what if I only want to take 1 course at a time or something like that? Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, that would mean that this is a poor major for you. This is not the right major for you because it's a cohort major. So each semester you take the required number of classes. If you decide to sit a semester out, then that means that you'll have to wait until that same semester comes back again. So you'd have to wait a year to jump back into the cohort. And so this is not like I'm going to take 1 course here, 1 course there. This is where you're taking a prescribed set of courses. Everyone takes the same courses. There are no electives in the course, but it also is really wonderful because you'll have the same experiences with other students. You'll have that shared experience. And we did a lot of research when we were developing this. And what we found is that students really enjoy a cohort program because they have some really wonderful opportunities to kind of network and remain in touch and kind of talk about problems in a really deep way because there's not all that norming in groups. And so that's why it's a cohort program, it's structured, and we have 1 face-to-face meeting. So, and that meeting is happening in April, not in January. The reason is we talked to some students who were in programs and they said, at the beginning, you know, it's just so new to be in grad school. And so I can't really make a lot out of like that meeting in January that we first had. It didn't make a lot of sense to me. And, you know, because I was just so overwhelmed. And then I talked to another program where they have their meeting happen later in the year. And they said, oh, that was awesome because we'd already done a few assignments. We kind of knew who people were. We maybe would have had a video chat or something ahead of time. And then we were able to apply that directly into meeting people, and it made the relationships even deeper. Okay, so I've answered a few of your questions, I'm sure, Kat. Are there other questions that you would like to ask?
Yeah, so what kind of technology would a person need for this major?
That's awesome. That is a great question. So one of as far as the technologies go, you'll need to be able to do some sort of a chat. Different faculty are using different tools. So I would say a modern computer of your own at your own availability. I've had people before take online classes and say, I really don't have a working computer, so I plan to just do it in the library. And or in a, or something like that. And I have to say, honestly, people that are, doing a Skype call in the library are kind of the jerks when I go in the library. So so you have to make sure that you have some available technology. Now, it could be an iPad, could be a Surface tablet, could be a computer, and also a reliable internet connection. I think probably the most important, as far as technology, I would say that would be what you would need. I would be able to have a Google account to be able to do a Google Hangout. And some of those technology skills we're going to be covering as part of the program. But if your computer is a year or two old, you're probably fine. If your computer is 5 or 6 years old, you may need to think about purchasing a computer.
So with that, would they need, well, you already kind of answered this with Skype, you'll need some kind of web camera on that modern computer, which most of them come with that.
Yeah, I'm making that assumption. You're 100% right. Or if you're using a tablet, you could do it via like an iPad or something like that to have a camera. Do I think you could do this whole thing with like a really good smartphone? Probably not. I think that would get frustrating.
Yeah.
Although I've seen some people that have, instead of having, you know, an iPad, have an iPod and a wireless keyboard. So, I mean, you know, people are, you know, have great creativity in what they're able to do. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that you will talk more about like kind of the things that you're going to have to do as people apply. We're going to kind of write back and say, you know, these are the kinds of chats and things. But if you're following along with this chat or even watching the archived version, you know, this is the kind of activity that we're going to be doing.
Excellent. So let's get into some logistics and nitty gritty. What does it cost?
Okay, so we did a calculation based on this year's tuition and fees. Now, so this is an estimate, and this year's tuition and fees for in-state, it would be around $13,000. Now, it's an 18-month program. We can pretty much, just like we can bet on death and taxes, we can bet on that there may be a raise in fees or tuition prices in the next year. So that is kind of an estimate for in-state tuition. Now, the deal is, you know, it's not any special fee. There is an online course fee that comes with it for some of the technological supports that will be available. However, it is just regular fees. It's not like a premium program. Additionally, as far as costs for books and things go, we're really encouraging all the faculty to either make their own book or to use like Kindle books. One of the courses in our degree, and I can probably get to that in a minute where I talk more about courses in depth, is about digital literacies and how people are reading online. And so one of the things that I'm going to really challenge people to do is to read their texts in an online format, and that will save you a lot of money. For example, the book that I'm requiring, I think, is $11.99 as a Kindle book and $43 as a print book. And so when you think about your technology, you might also think what would work best for you reading online. Would that mean buying a Kindle Paperwhite, or would that mean buying an iPad or something so that would allow you to read online? You know, of course, we can't require you to do that for all the books, but we are going to encourage it because it will help you with digital literacy skills. Did you have another question? Did I miss part of that?
No, you didn't. Actually, the next question I was going to ask is, do you have to buy a Kindle for this program? But you kind of already answered that too. So what about financial aid? Is financial aid available for students in this program?
So we've gotten a couple early questions about financial aid, and we're working with the financial aid office. They have worked with cohort programs before, and so they will define financial aid standards. That's still a work in progress, but it is definitely something that is on our radar and that we're continuing. As we have more information, we will make it available through our website, which is, again, bit.ly, so bit.ly/21st century teaching.
Awesome. Okay, so we've talked about how long the program is, and we've talked a little bit about the hours for each. So can you talk a little bit about the time commitment as far as for each of those semesters and the hours, the number of credit hours, what the time commitment would be?
Definitely. So, you know, one of the things that I want to say, I'm going to pull up so that I can talk about all the courses really easy. One of the things that I am really excited about is that, let me pull this up. I know I messed up here. I should have had it up already. One of the things that I'm really excited about is that the 21st Century Masters is that it is set up for a teacher to be successful. So we're not like trying to, create a situation where teachers feel overwhelmed. The idea is that we're trying to pick things that a teacher who's engaged in their classroom is going to be interested in learning about while they're teaching. And so as far as the time commitment goes, I mean, the general guidelines are, that for every hour that you're in class a week, so 16 weeks, and if you're taking 7 hours, you should assume 3 hours outside of class. The great thing about online is that you can manage your time as you need. If you have children, you could be up at midnight working on stuff or wake up at 4 in the morning. The only thing is that a misnomer about online, some people say, well, I think online would be easier. That is exactly the opposite of the truth. Doing an online course actually takes a lot more effort. It's a lot more self-pacing, a lot more self-determination to make sure that you're going to be successful. And you also have to manage your time. And so, the one question to really ask yourself is, do I have time for the next 18 months to engage in this program? And what I've heard from other people who've gone through cohorts is, the thing is that I made a commitment to this. This was a commitment to myself, to my personal growth, to my professional growth, and I intend to be successful. And that length of time, having a clear program where the courses are prescribed, and so there's not a lot of choices. There's not a lot of choices that have to be made. Instead, it's like the faculty who are working together can kind of coordinate a little bit over what's going on. And since it's all around the theme of 21st century learning, one of the really exciting things is that the courses, the projects and ideas are going to build on each other. And so that helps to aid you in time, but it will be a time commitment. It's not a free master's degree for sure.
Well, that's a good
So Kat, you've done some online coursework, right?
Have, yes.
And so have you done that as a working adult?
I have, yes.
So
I'm actually in one right now.
There you go. So as a working adult, what do you find helps you be successful in an online course?
I think the big thing is the time management and making sure that you schedule time throughout your week, just like you would go into a class. So if you have a class on Mondays and Wednesdays, or if you have a class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, or once a week or whatever, you need to make and schedule and block that time just as much for an online class as you would for any other regular class that you go into. The nice thing is it works with your schedule. So if the only time you have available to work on a class is, Thursday nights from 8 to 10 o'clock at night, then just block off that time and schedule that time and make yourself stick to that time. So I think that would be the biggest thing that helps me be successful in that particular class, is really making sure that I protect that time and make that time commitment. It is so easy to get behind and go, oh, well, I can't this Thursday because I have this and this to do, so I'll just move that to Sunday, because eventually things just kind of keep getting pushed back and pushed back. So, and along those lines, another question I had for you, Dr. Cullen, was, are there synchronous meetings online? Are there certain times that you're going to have to meet with the entire class each week or each month or something like that online?
So that is really left up to the individual instructor, and we've had a lot of conversations about that, because in order to schedule a synchronous meeting online, often what you have to do is list that with the course listing, which, like, we've turned in the course listings for summer of 17 already. Mm-hmm. And so, like, to know what date and time that will work. And so that'll really be arranged within each individual class. One of the things that we spent a lot of time talking about is having virtual office hours, where a faculty member will be available via chat or via email at a certain time to be able to answer your questions. And when we do synchronous chats, like, for example, I'm a real fan of Google Hangout, partially because in K-12 education, so many schools have gone Google, but also because Google Hangouts on Air, which we're doing right now, allows us to archive this. And so anybody who has missed this talk, I can go ahead and send them the link and say, here, this will answer a lot of your questions. Please come and check it out. And so if we have like a chat, I've done this a few times when I've had an online class where students have a series of questions, and a student will start emailing me, and I go, wow, those are really great questions. Will you join me on a Google Hangout on Air? And then they start asking me these questions, and then maybe I do a screen share and I show my files and I show what I'm doing. And, you know, that's just really has been super helpful for students in order to do a screen share. And then that way, then if the rest of the students weren't there, I can share it with them and they can watch it at their own convenience. And so as part of being a cohort, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that. Even more so, when I've talked to really successful online cohorts, what they've said is it's not about the professor. It's about the students working together. And so one of the things that I'm hoping to use in my classes is that they do like Skype like partner assignments where students have to Skype with each other and complete things together. And, you know, there's a lot of tools for that now. You know, it's really amazing. I taught my first online class in 2000. And it was so difficult to teach online. It was, I mean, I never, it was even difficult to upload like a picture or video. And that's just not the case anymore. And so the really exciting thing is that with all these technologies, you know, for example, Kat, as she was preparing her question, she said, these are the questions I thought I'd ask. And she sent me a Google Doc. And I was like, oh, these are good questions. I was able to look at them. And, you know, so yeah, she's totally, you know, she's totally a plant. But if that wasn't already obvious. But that will, you know, assist us and be able to talk about how we're going to plan on using our online, you know, how we're able to use our online tools in order to actually show 21st century learning. I think that's what I'm probably the most excited about, is that we're planning assignments that are going to be using the tools that are inherent of 21st century learning. Maybe Kat, since you've been working on some things, maybe you want to talk about a little bit about the summary assignment that I had you practice that I've been working on with infographics, and kind of tell a little bit about the richness of that activity. And that would be a good example of the kind of activities we're planning.
I really like that assignment. I'm a very visual person, and so putting things together visually is really important for me. And sometimes when we look at traditional assignments with creating something visually, maybe you take out all your different colors of highlighters and you highlight different things in your book, and that's how you kind of visually put those together. So for this particular assignment, I actually had to create an infographic that compared two different parts of a book. And I really like that because it helped me really visually conceptualize and put together the two different parts in the book. Do you want me to go into detail on those parts? Or
yeah, we won't tell about what the book is. I will tell you that.
Spoiler alert.
No, it's okay. But in the first class, we're reading two books. One is 21st Century Skills, and which is written by the organization that's known for one of the best known models related to 21st century learning. And then we're also reading Creating Innovators by Tony Wagner. And as a way to kind of bring together ideas from those books and bring those readings together, instead of just always doing a discussion forum, there's going to be some other assignments that have you discuss with other students. It's also going to have you, you know, creating infographics. And, you know, technology these days, if you think about what goes on in a classroom, you know, for a lot of my current students, my 22-year-olds, when they were in school, they went to the librarian, and the librarian taught them how to use technology. But instead, now that time where the librarian was teaching technology is used as test prep. And so the responsibility to teach technology falls under the teacher. And so in order to really use technology in a meaningful way, having a whole technology course is not probably realistic to how the real world works. Instead, it's about having projects that embed the technology that make meaningful learning occur and allow students to represent what they know in different ways. One of the things I'm like totally in love with right now, and I'm not even really sure where I'm going to fit it in the classes, is all the work that's being done on sketchnoting, and about having students do drawings as they're note taking instead of otherwise, you know, just taking random notes. So that's kind of a we've kind of given a little preview there. What I thought I might do is screen share to our website, and I can talk about some of the courses there and give a little bit of a background. So we're going to give the screen share a try. Make sure that my window is open. Ah, there it is. Can you see that right now, Kat?
I can.
All right. And so is that our main screen? It is our main screen. So now I'm going to do present to everyone. I guess that's what I'm doing. All right. And so then So anyway, so if we talk about the 21st Century Masters, by the way, am I scrolling, Kat?
You are scrolling.
Perfect. All right, so this is our website, which again is bit.ly/21st century teaching. And what I want to show you is this is our online program. The application deadline is December 1st. You can actually click this button right here to begin your application. It's a completely online application. And, you know, kind of we're looking at the aims of how can we better prepare students to be tomorrow's leaders, entrepreneurs, and inventors? How can we change learning environments to better engage and inspire our students? And how can we use research to better inform our practice in both teaching and learning? So again, the detail about the cohort-based model, there's also several videos from several of the people who are teaching courses. And I'd love for you to go and look at these to hear more about their courses. Currently, the deadline again is December 1st. We're going to look at applications after December 1st. I think we're going to have our first completed one this week. We're in mid-October. And we are going to form the cohort of up to 25 students as of December 1st. And then if we go down below, I'm scrolling up here and I want to show you the course outline. So in the first spring, you have a 1 credit hour course, which is Orientation and Introduction to 21st Century Learning, and 2 3 credit hour courses, Classroom Management for the 21st Century and Research into Practice. The Classroom Management course focuses on, like, classroom management is one of the keys to being a successful teacher. And even if you're an experienced teacher, you can learn more about classroom management, especially when you're looking at collaborative learning and group work. Classroom management takes on a different shape. For research into practice is focused, Dr. Hetty is teaching that course, and he's got his little tagline that he's been using. There's a study for that. And so I think that you'll enjoy that as well. In the summer, a librarian, Stacy Zemke, will be teaching a 1 credit hour course on open educational resources for teaching. A lot of people are saying that free textbooks, open courses are really going to change the future of education. And so she's an expert in finding these resources, and that's what that class is going to focus on. Motivated Change is also Dr. Hetty's course. He spends a lot of time in his research working on transformative learning environments. And he's going to talk about how motivation can help to lead change. Remember that part of the goal of this major is to get our students to be leaders in the schools and to be looking at how we can make education better. And, you know, that can go as far as addressing things like the teacher shortage and helping people to be fulfilled and effective in their classrooms. And that's the kind of course that's going to get people jazzed about that. And then in July, we'll be offering Technology and Social Media in Education. That's going to be my course, and it's going to be kind of an overview of how technology education and how social media has been used in education in order to improve the student experience and parental communication. In the fall, assessment in the 21st century, about new ways that we could be doing assessment in K-12 to show learning outcomes. New Literacies in 21st Century Learning is a course taught by Dr. Sally Beach, who is the head of our reading program, our literacy program. And she's really an expert in using digital texts and new kinds of digital literacies. And then Reflection in the 21st Century is a 1 credit hour course, and I'll be teaching that course. And actually what that is it's a halfway point of the whole major. The first fall is your halfway point. And so that course is going to be talking about what have you learned so far, how can you apply it to education, and it will also be where the portfolio that will be your assessment for the entire program will be started to be gathered together and get you in the process towards your final assessment. In the spring, there'll be 2 courses, Technology Enhanced Problem-Based Learning. Dr. Shinga is teaching that course, and she is an expert in problem-based learning. She has many publications on it, and she's going to talk about how you can better engage students in PBL. Critical Literacy is going to be a course that looks at diversity in education and is really going to delve into some of the major issues that are challenging education today. And then in the final summer, our Dean Garn, will be teaching School and Community Relations, which is his expertise, and how we can better reach out to parents, community members, congressmen, in order to let them know what good things are happening in our schools. And the final course that you'll be taking is Building Capacity for STEM, which is Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. I have to say, I'm teaching this one too, and it is my dream course. I'm a former high school science teacher. I've done a lot of work looking at getting girls excited about STEM careers. I also am a former programmer. I have a master's degree in computer programming. And what I really want to talk about is how every teacher has a stake in helping us to improve our STEM pipeline, and how that is a way that we can really improve education overall in our state and in our nation. So, and you can see my contact information is below, including my email. And like I said, we have a series of videos on this page that you can watch if you wish to learn more. And so I'm going to stop sharing. Uh-oh, let's see if I come back. Hey, all right. So other questions that that you might have, Kat?
Okay, so after listening to all of the courses, what types of skills, we've kind of already talked a little bit about this, and I will say with doing the infographic as a teacher, just a small aside comment, as a former teacher and teaching now, sometimes we look at these cool tools and we're like, yeah, we want to use them, but then we never have time to use them in class. So I really like doing that infographic too, because it kind of gave me a chance to not only do something that, you know, was for this particular course, but it was also doing something that I could use later on and be kind of informed about. So what are some other skills that we would learn in this course as students?
Okay, so other skills that that I think you would learn in this course, I think that's a good thing that you point that out. You know, I've always my students have joked that I always talk about double dipping. You know, like I want you to do something in my classes that you can use right away in your school or in your teaching. And so that's something that is always very important to me. And I know that there is definitely a focus on practice, on things that you could use right away, observations that you could do in your own classroom or in your local school. Those are all really important. Additionally, the skills and things that you're going to learn as far as technology goes, you know, we're going to stick with those: collaboration, communication. So you're going to learn how to use multiple different video conferencing software. For example, several of the faculty members, we were talking, should we just pick one? Should we say everybody's using this one? And then we decided, no, we want people to realize that, you know, a duck is a duck is a duck. And that if you can use Skype, you can also use Google Hangout. And if you can use Blue Jeans, which is something that's provided by the university for online classes. And so all of those are those kinds of kind of embedded skills. Of course, we're going to be learning on a platform called Janix, which has a lot of social media interactions in it. And so you'll be learning about linking things in collaborative documents, things like Google Documents and things like that. And then additionally, like using like online collaborative tools like whiteboard tools and planning tools, you know, things like I'm a big fan of Linowit, which is a pretty simple tool. That it's like a Post-it note tool where you can do problem solving and brainstorming using Post-it notes. So I will say that right now you know, like, so why would I want to be in the first cohort? I had this conversation with somebody, and I met with some teachers in Tulsa. And I said to somebody, I said, well, you know, the first cohort is the first group that we're doing. And so there's a plus and a minus to it. The plus is that the courses are under development. Our courses for our first semester are pretty much done. The courses for the first summer are currently under development. We're developing them a semester ahead of time. And people are working on their courses, but you know, some are more done than others. And but what's great is that we're going to be surveying students throughout the courses, and we're going to be getting information about what's working. So the plus is that you're going to have an opportunity that your voice is really going to be heard, and you're going to be able to tell us what are the good experiences and be able to help shape the overall major in a way that somebody in the second or third cohort may not be able to. The downside is there may be a couple times you'll be the guinea pig. There might be something that doesn't work right. We decide to do a chat and we get terrible feedback and we have to abort, and then we have to do it again. But that's also part of learning with technology. You know, one of the things, since I teach the technology integration courses at OU, one of the things that students say to me all the time, or it shows up on my evals, I was so excited to see that Dr. Cullen got frustrated with technology too. And that sometimes, you know, like it didn't work right for her, but she had a plan, or we did something different, or we were flexible and we made the assignment due the next week. That happens. And, you know, our goal is that really whatever technology tools we're using, we're not only using them to teach the course, but we're also modeling effective uses for students. So did I answer your question, Kat?
You did. So the kind of the tag off question from that would be, okay, so what if I'm really interested in technology as a teacher, but I don't have a lot of experience with it, and I'm a little bit afraid of it. Are there any sort of entry tech skills that I need to get into this?
For me personally, I would say no, because we're going to plan that you don't have all the tech skills, coming in, and that's okay. That we're going to plan to try to give you opportunities to learn them. I would say that being a self-learner would be important. Meaning, I taught a programming class once online, and wow, was that really difficult. Because I couldn't look at the code. Now the technology tools are different. We could do a screen share, and I could say, here's the problem with your code, and I could probably circle something or, something like that. It'd be all good. But one of the things is like, for example, one of the things that Kat has been working on for my class is she's been making a lynda.com playlist of different tutorials on how to use some of the tools that we're going to use. And so we'll provide you with, like, here's a tutorial to learn how to use it. We may not be able to sit next to you because who knows where you'll be in relation to Norman. But that also means, though, that that you're gonna have to be enough of a self-starter to use the resources, tutorials, and handouts and things that we provide you to be able to get to know them better. I would say that I definitely see Google, like doing Google Docs, Google presentations, Google Hangouts. I definitely see that happening. I also see Skype happening. Those are the ones that we've spent a lot of time talking at this point. Also, Pictochart or Canva. I'm personally in love with Canva right now, so there you go. And the other thing is let me say before I forget, if you are saying, wow, this sounds really interesting, but I want to take one course at a time. I don't want to do this, I don't want to be in a cohort. I don't like the idea of this cohort model. I want to have electives. Like, that's really important to me. What I wanted to show you is I'm going back to our website. I'm doing a screen share. Are you seeing that, Kat?
Yes.
Okay, and I am at ed.ou.edu. Let me just type it in so you can see how easy it is to get there. Oh, I know what I'm opening. Okay, ed.ou.edu/IPT. Okay, ed.ou.edu/IPT. And it loads our page on instructional psychology and technology that has all of our majors here. And if you notice, we have our Ed Psych program, our Integrating Technology into Teaching program, which trains you to be a technology coach in schools, and Instructional Design and Technology, which would train you to be a instructional designer. And then also the information on our doctoral program. We also have, if you already have a master's degree and you just want a certificate in educational research, we have a 4-class sequence that would give you a certificate beyond your master's degrees. Right now we talk about that there is, for the master's degree, there's some deadlines for applications. However, we decided just today in a meeting that we're going to do rolling applications, because we know that there's a lot of people who are interested in our 21st Century Master's program. And because it got approved late, we're accepting applications through December 1st. And we don't want to stop anybody who's ready to pursue their master's degree. So if you say, wow, this 21st century thing sounds interesting, but I really want a traditional program, you are still A-okay to apply for next spring for our traditional program. And in that case, you can take 1 or 2 classes at a time if you wanted. And also many of those courses are online. There are a few that are face-to-face, but most of those classes are 1 night a week or in weekend format. All right, I'm gonna stop sharing that again, see if I come back. All right, I'm back on. What other questions do you have, Kat?
So what resources, if I'm interested in doing this as a student, what resources are available to me as an online student for OU? If I can't come to Norman, what are some other ways that I can get resources as an online student?
So let me first tell you that probably the greatest resource is the library. And the library has just really reached out to online students. We have an education librarian, Molly Strothman, who is really excellent at, she's prepared special guides for students who are studying online to use the resources at the library and directions. Also, if you remember, I noted that there's gonna be a face-to-face weekend, which is gonna be April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The details will come back with more details about what's happening on that weekend as we know more who our cohort is, and we can better estimate travel times to give you a real schedule for that weekend. But we're really doing save the date at this point. But part of the things that we have planned for that weekend is that we're going to have representatives from the library are going to come and give a tutorial for students on how to access library resources. We also are going to have some people from Janix, which is the group that does the online learning platform, interact with the students to have the students give them feedback on their experiences. Additionally, we've got a special, like, large public event that we're going to be involved with, and I'm not going to give you more details on, but I have a feeling Kat can probably figure out what that is. I got the approval for that today, so I'm really excited. We're going to make it a really big, exciting opportunity for learning. And additionally, and then all the faculty who are teaching courses are going to be available through that weekend. That course or that weekend is tied to my course, The Introduction. And so there's going to be some group building activities and collaborative activities that will also be part of it. And so, yeah, and then also I should also say is that through the Janix platform, there are more additional tools for students that to help them in their master's degree if they're taking it online. And we'll be making all those resources available through the introductory course. Okay, any other questions that I haven't answered, Kat?
I have one last question that kind of came up as you were talking earlier. So you mentioned the portfolio. So can you talk to us a little bit more about the requirements in the portfolio, as far as are the students having to gather their own things to put in the portfolio? Is there going to be a thesis requirement? Things like that.
Awesome question. So there won't be a thesis requirement, but each faculty member has been asked as part of their course to identify the key assignment that will be part of the portfolio. And so each course will say, I'm designating this assignment as your portfolio piece. And that will usually be like the capstone or the cumulative project. For example, in the Introduction to 21st Century Learning, the final project will be a lesson plan that epitomizes 21st century learning as you see it. Now, one thing that we're really big about in instructional psychology and technology is the metacognitive reflection. And so the idea is that you'll be choosing these pieces that will tell you, those are the pieces we want you to use. But then the portfolio, the key part of the portfolio is you're going to be creating an online portfolio. And in that portfolio, you're going to be spending a lot of time reflecting. And like, for example, in the first semester, there's several courses, assignments that are built in, kind of knowing that if, like, I think about my own, you know, I have 2 master's degree and a PhD. And in my PhD, during the first semester, we had to write a essay about to our mother or our father, somebody outside the field, to explain what the field was. And then they encouraged us, like, in our 3rd year, to go back and look at it. And it's like, oh man, I had no idea what I was talking about. You know, like, my knowledge is so much richer. So much about an assessment is really having a student be able to self-assess about what they know that's different, how they have learned, and you know, how they will teach differently based on what they've learned. And so that's something that we're really excited about, is that that'll be a key component of that portfolio. All right, was that your last question, Kat?
That was my last question. All
right, well, we've done a good 44 minutes here. I hope that we're gonna, you know, distribute this because it's on a YouTube video. And we talked about a lot of things. Oh, I had one more question that I got asked this week that I thought I would include. Somebody asked me, if I get this master's in 21st century learning, would this qualify me for the PhD program? Our master's and PhD programs are separate. And it would be just like anybody else who had completed a master's program. It would be something that they would apply with, and then they would ask for the credits to transfer. And so even though it's not a thesis, now some programs, like, let's say there's other universities that you might want to do your PhD at. Of course, nothing's better than OU though. Right, Kat?
That's right.
Anyway, but what I was going to say is, if you decide that you want to do your PhD at OU, you would finish your master's, or in your last semester of your master's, apply for the PhD, and then those credits could come over just like you transfer any master's in to a PhD program. And but there's no, like, somebody said, well, you know, if I do this master's, does that mean I'll get into the PhD? That's not true of any of our masters. And so that would be something that, you know, through your learning and through your projects, a master's degree is very different than a PhD. And but you would still be building knowledge that you could take with you and apply if you wanted to go and get a further degree. All right, so I guess we'll kind of wrap up this chat. Again, I can't say it But one more time, if you want to know more, you want to watch some of the videos from some of the other people teaching, it's bit.ly/21st century teaching. And we'd love to see you on the website. If you would want to talk to me more about it, my Twitter name is Dr. Terry OU, DrTerriou. And my email is TACullen, and the Cullen is like Edward, Cullen. So tacullen@ou.edu. And I would love to hear from you. Our application deadline is December 1st, and students will start in courses on January 18th. So it's coming fast. I hope to see you, and I look forward to learning with you. Kat, anything else you want to add?
I think that's it. I think this was awesome. I'm excited.
Thank you for helping me, Kat, and we'll talk to you all soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.